Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And once again this week, I've covered a little bit of other stuff, but there's only one real topic in the online fitness community still this week, and that is Rich Piana. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And there's been some statements issued by his girlfriend, Chanel. See, I got her name right this time, guys. Hope y'all are happy. She's trying to get everyone to be positive. She's asking people to be positive, be respectful, and you know what? I think that's totally reasonable. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that even if you don't like Rich Piana, the fact of the matter is this is a man who is very possibly dying, who has loved ones who care about him, and Chanel, his family, everyone else has probably never wronged any of you. So any personal beefs you might have with the guy because of stuff he's done or his outreach, probably the best time to keep it to yourself. And the reason for that is because, again, any personal beef that you have with this man, you don't have with his girlfriend, you don't have with his family. They're the only ones who might hear it. If he's dying, they're the only ones who are going to hear it, not him. So what good is it to do to say negative things at this point if the person you are angry at or dislike can't even hear it? The only people who are going to hear it or see it might be people who care about him. So there's no real point to being negative. Now, can we use this as a learning lesson to say, yeah, guys, don't do drugs. Take better care of your body. But by that same token, as far as interaction with them go, she's asked for people to send messages. She's asked for people to call and leave voice messages that she can play for him. She's made it clear that her stance, their story is that he is alive and that he is fighting right now. I'm going to ask any of my followers or people watching this video, if you post anything on any of his wall, on his Instagram, or any of his other social media, I'm going to ask you to be respectful, be positive. If you enjoy my work, you're a fan of me, please be respectful to him. I don't even necessarily like Rich that much, but the fact of the matter is it's just really inappropriate to be disrespectful when someone is very possibly dying. Because that's what I believe the case is here. And yeah, so that's what she's asking. Is it for people to leave messages? Now, this is a lot of speculation as far as what that means. Because they're not really telling us much of anything about his state. At least people who would know directly. Like one of his guys who's supposedly his friend. I don't know who this guy is, never heard of him in my life. Is saying different things about it that have been proven to be false. At least the police reports say he's false, and he's saying no, he's alive, and he's been conscious for days, and he's talking and things like that. But this is a person who didn't even get the other stuff right, and I've never heard of him. I doubt the hospital's going to give him direct information. So, there's a lot of speculation and debates out there. The problem is that when there is no real information being given by official sources, all we have is speculation. And the thing is, when she's asking for voice messages, positive voice messages, honestly, it could mean one of two things. The most positive end would be, well, he's trying to recover. He's trying to regain all his faculties, because if he's been in the coma, it could take a little while before he can speak properly, move properly, learn to walk again. That is trying to give him positive, motivating messages from his fans. All right, that's one possibility. The other is that he's still under, and she's hoping that playing these positive messages for him will do something to help bring him back around. Now, is that completely unreasonable? Maybe not. If he is in that situation, there have been cases of people in comas and other things getting positive messages and it helping bring them back. Obviously, it's a long shot, but it couldn't hurt. So if he is in that bad of a condition, I can see someone who legitimately cared about him saying, hey, I'm going to do everything I can. Even if it's 1,000,000 to 1, I'm going to do everything I can to bring them back. And if that's the case, you know what? More power to her. I can't knock her for doing that in either case. So, I think she's doing a good thing there for Rich either way you break it down. So there's nothing really negative to be said about what she's doing there. How can you be negative about that? I can't. Now, as far as all the other stuff goes, we don't know what's going to go on with any legal stuff, like I said before. But I thought, on another note, someone came in and said, Well, Jason, I don't see why Rich would need to be dealing steroids. Why would he do that? He's got money, he's got houses, and I kind of responded to that person of, yeah, man, that people used to accuse Pablo Escobar of selling drugs, and he had all that wealth and money. Why would he need to sell drugs? I want you to think that statement through for a moment. To say that because someone has cars and a big house and a bunch of wealth that they don't sell drugs or have never sold drugs as a defense, that's not how it works. Now, if they were dead broke, then you might say, well, maybe they haven't sold many drugs. But it's really kind of weird that someone took that stance. And as far as all that goes, you know what, I really don't want to talk about that. What I will say, if it turns out Rich has passed and we get confirmation of that, I'll probably go ahead and say what I know about the situation, what I really know about the situation from firsthand interaction with people. But in the meantime, if the guy is still alive and we don't know if he's going to pull through or not, we don't know. All we can do is speculate. I'm just not going to talk about that further because I'm basically not going to do anything that might be considered snitching in any way on someone who's still alive. But if it's a situation where, look, there's no legal ramifications against the guy, there's some interesting stories out there I might be willing to talk about. But what I'm going to do with that, there we go, there's something positive for him to fight for. If he's still there, if he pulls through, if Rich pulls through, you know what, I'm not going to tell any of those stories. But if he passes, some pretty interesting gossip out there. I'll probably discuss some of that in this channel at that point. But like I said, if he's alive, I'm totally not going to do that because that's just not my nature. That's not how I prefer to do that sort of thing. I'm not going to snitch on someone involved in pretty much this sort of stuff, at least in any direct way. But for now, it's interesting. They found distribution amounts, and again, some people are like, well, that's not distribution amounts. No, that's just what they found quickly on hand. That's more than Rich would immediately use in a short period of time, even at his insane doses. But as far as legalities go, if the guy's still in ICU or in a coma, there's obviously nothing illegal in the works at that point. Because police aren't going to even bother trying to figure out an investigation for a guy who's sitting in a coma. That's a waste of resources until they know he's going to come out and he's physically well enough to even look into charges for something like that. They're not going to bother. So that's one of those things that they're just going to have to wait and see. But that is, unfortunately for him, one of the potential downsides to this whole situation is that there may or may not be some sort of legal ramifications by the police if he pulls through and he's physically okay. And like I said, for now, we just don't know what's going on there. And all of us are speculating because what else can we do? Because the people who are on the inside and know, they haven't released any official statements, for better or for worse. All we can do is speculate, but it is big news. This is the biggest news currently in the online fitness world. There is nothing bigger at the moment. So there's going to be a lot of people talking about it, myself included, because it's a big story. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.